Hi guys, Shelly Skates here. I really wanted to go over how to put on your skates properly. There's a lot of times I see as a coach skating parents not too sure on how to put their child's skates on. So this video is really supposed to help you put on your skates in the proper way, and we're gonna get started. If you are going to skate and you're going to rent a pair of skates, most likely those skates are tightened up lace-wise. So as you can see here, these are all tightened up on the bottom of the boot. There's no give, and if I pull the tongue and I open it up, there's not a big opening here. So if I try to get my foot into this right now, there's no way for me. Here's my heel sticking out. There's no way for me to get my foot into that skate. A lot of people make the mistake of not loosening up the front part of the skate to get their foot in, and they just open up the tongue like so and try to get their foot in, and then they say they need a bigger pair of skates. That is not the case. You need to loosen up your skates because your skate wants to fit like a glove. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna loosen up the laces down here. And when I loosen those up, I get a lot more room to put my foot into that skate. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna pull on the tongue a little bit, open it up, and slide my foot in. So after you slide your foot in, there's a couple of things to help you out to ensure that your skate fits comfortably and perfectly. Number one, if you have tight leggings or even just pants like I have now, or jeans, whatever the case may be, please pull out the bottom of your pant from the inside of the skate, because that extra material bunched up into your skate is gonna be very uncomfortable once you tie your skates. So I'm gonna literally just pull up my pant leg, and I'm gonna take my skating tight, or my nylon, and I'm gonna pull it up just to make sure there's no extra material in the skate itself. So now that I've done that, everything's out of the way, I'm gonna pull my tongue of my skate to make sure it's not bunched up at the toe. That way I have the maximum room for my foot in my skate, and it will fit perfectly and comfortably. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to take my skate, put it on the heel, and I'm just gonna lightly kick that heel back a little bit. When I lightly kick that heel back, that's gonna help take the heel of my foot and push it back into the heel of the boot, so my toes have a lot more wiggle room and they're not crunched up at the front of the boot, which is very uncomfortable. So before I start to tie these skates, the biggest thing is you want to make sure that the tongue is straight. So I'm going to tuck in the sides of the tongue into the sides of the boot. After I do that, I am going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to tighten each row of lace a little tighter and tighter. Now, when I tighten these, the biggest thing you want to keep in mind is as you tighten your skate, you want to make sure you feel the tongue of the boot hugging your foot, because if it's not hugging your foot, you're going to have too much movement in your skate, and it's going to cause you to have trouble skating and doing your elements. If it is too tight, your foot's going to start falling asleep. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and it's going to take your mind off of your skating. So I'm going to tighten these up. Remember, only have it hug your foot. Do not have the boot so tight where your foot's falling asleep. I get to this point, I'm going to crisscross my laces. And here we are coming up to our hooks. Now when you come to these hooks, there's a couple of ways you can hook around. You could either go down with the lace and bring it up and over the hook, like so, and then cross. Or what a lot of skaters do as well is they tighten it up and they go from the top of the hook and wrap the lace down and then cross. You could go either way. I usually go down and wrap up. A lot of skaters like to go up and wrap down. Do whatever works for you. So I'm just gonna wrap down right now, since that's what I started. And remember, here you're just gonna slightly pull so the skate is hugging your foot. You do not want to have this part of the skate super tight, because when this part of the skate's super tight, it's gonna be hard for you to bend your knee and your ankle when you are skating. So I go all the way to the top, I tie my skate, and that's how my skates, that's how you tie them. That's how you tie your skates. So if you look, when I bend, I'm able to bend my ankle, I'm able to bend my knee, which will help you skate, and I'm able to stick 3 fingers in to the tongue, okay? Now if it's so tight where you can't get your fingers down into that tongue all the way, your skate's probably a little too tight and it's gonna be harder for you to have that mobility with your ankle as you're skating. Because as you're skating, knee bend is key, and when knee bend is key, you need to also bend your ankle. A lot of times when you get brand new skates, the skates are going to be really stiff. So if you tie them super tight and you use all these hooks, it's going to be harder for your skater to bend their knees or get that ankle action when you're skating. So a couple of tips for breaking in your skates. When you get new skates, we call it breaking in your skates because the skates typically are really stiff, and you gotta kind of break them down, loosen them up a little bit so you can get that mobility. So if the skates are really stiff, what you need to do, so when you're doing the hooks, there's a couple of pointers and tips. You can skip this bottom hook here and just go right to the second hook. This will give you a little bit more ankle mobility, more bend for your skate, and then just tie it in your knot. That helps you bend your ankle a little bit more. There's a little bit less resistance here in the ankle, so you could have more mobility to bend. Another tip that a lot of skaters like to use as well is, instead of missing this bottom hook, they like to skip the top hook completely. That also helps you a little bit more with your mobility as you're skating. So you could get that ankle bend, as you see. As I'm bending, my leg is coming forward in the skate. So you'll see this little gap here. That's okay, that's normal. And I'm able to get my 3 fingers in, which is great. But you get more mobility that way too. And that's another great way to break in your skates. And also, a lot of times skaters have trouble tying their skates, keeping them tight. They loosen up as they skate. So a trick that I learned from my very first coach is, after you tie your skates, I use it to this day. After you tie your skates, you're going to take the loops, you're going to pull them over the hook and pull those little extra lace out and make another bow. Then that keeps your skate pretty much tightened and in place. That way you don't need to keep retying your skate. Now, one thing I like to do too is, especially if you wear leggings or a tight, take that and put it over your lace. This, number one, helps keep the laces from getting hooked onto the hooks of your other boots. It helps and keeps, just imagine if there was one over this foot, there's no clinking, there's no grabbing here. So that helps out with a lot of safety things as well when you're skating. So guys, I hope that was helpful for you. That's one of the biggest struggles I see parents have, is tying skates. If you tie your skates properly, the skating result is going to be so much better. So I hope that was helpful. Like the video, give me a thumbs up, please. Subscribe too. So if you're a brand new parent and you're thinking about getting your child involved with skating, please let me know in the comments below. I want to hear all about it, and I want to be here to help you out, because skating is a pretty complicated sport, and I want to be here to help you guys and be with you along the whole journey. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next video. Till then, see you later.